Okay, so I got a 2005 Ford F150 today that doesn't have an airbag light on, but it should. And I'll show you what I'm talking about. What I'm talking about is the frontal crash sensor. They get a lot of corrosion around the connector on there and the actual base of it. So much, though, so that it actually will split. The sensor will split in half, and the pins will fall out for the actual sensor. And that's there's only one front crash sensor on these vehicles. So you get in a frontal hit, that's the one sending the information in the restraint control module and nothing else. So unless you have side airbags, those aren't going to send a signal either. So the only one that's going to send a signal in a frontal crash is that front crash sensor. A lot of the newer cars, they have 3 of them up there, or they might have 2, one on each side. But in the F150s of this year, the 04 to 2008, it's only one dead center in the middle there. So it's very important that for it to work, or else what's the point of all these airbags we're carrying around? So I want to go over that one. The other one that will cause the light, there's 2 very common ones. The other one that will cause the light is the actual passenger airbag off sensor right here above the radio. It's a little thin light, and every time you turn the key on, that light should light up and prove out. The restraint control module turns it on. And if it does not see, continuity through that light, it will actually set an airbag light. So these are, I want to make this more informative. That's why I'm going through the different areas, because like AutoZone and all, it might be able to go there for your codes read for your PCM, but their scanner only does so much, and it can't get into manufacturer-specific codes, and of course they can't go after body control modules such as the restraint control module, body-based modules. So if you can avoid the cost of having it diagnosed and scanned somewhere, I'm telling you, the 2 most common areas to cause that light to come on are this pad indicator above the radio and that front crash sensor. I would say they're about a 50-50 split. So they're both pretty darn common. But what's more important is that this one is so bad, I don't think it's going to do anything in the crash. And you got to look at that and decide for yourself if you want to change it out. Okay, so just open your hood, and then right there, right in front of you, dead center, you'll see it. And that's the actual front crash sensor. So you can focus on it real quick. There we go. And it just mounts right here, and the bolt goes through to the center brace here. But you can see the connector down here. This tape is factory. This is the way they have it. So it's gonna capture even more garbage, salt and all that stuff, all in this area. And then it just, let me see. There we go. It'll just corrode, and the actual sensor itself will start to break away, as you may be able to see on this one. This camera can't focus that close. Right there is probably good. And it'll actually start separating right here. And when it gets so bad, the pins inside here will actually break off, and then I'll throw the light. But before that happens, this whole thing is already coming apart. And I have no faith in this in a crash. So when you go to change it out, get a new pigtail, and make sure you go back far enough into the harness here that you have good, clean, bright copper. And the pigtail should be at least this long, the new one from Ford. And then your new sensor. And when taking this off of here, clean up the threads and the bolt, or change the bolt out. I would clean the threads because it is a special ground-based bolt. See the dots right there on the bolt? That means it's got a special coating on it for the ground. So I would clean the bolt up, and then behind here on the actual metal where it goes through, I would clean that all up to make sure it's corrosion-free also, and then put a real small amount of dielectric grease in the face here, and then back there where it actually screws in also, because you can see right there it provides a reference ground. You see that strap that goes up into there? It provides that reference ground, so you can actually get a code if this is corroded also. It'll say it because it's basically watching to make sure that this thing's mounted securely, and it does all that based off of the ground signal off of it. So it's very important that this has a clean surface to bite down into, and that it's torqued down properly, and then you'll have no issues. And when you bolt your new sensor on there. And what I would do on the connector itself is on the terminals, before you stick it in there and clamp it on, I would put electrical grease on that also, and that'll keep the contacts clean and protect it from any kind of environmental hazards. And it should last the rest of the life of the truck at that point. So also, when you're doing the repair up front there, like I just explained, on that crash sensor and pigtail, what you're going to want to do is disconnect your battery negative cable, isolate it so it can't touch accidentally, leave it off for 10 minutes at least, and that'll depower the actual restraint control module's capacitors, okay? That's very important before you start touching airbags or sensors in the restraint control module system, in the airbag system. And let it depower, and then you can do your repairs up there. And then what's a safety measure, it's not totally necessary, what's a safety measure though, is to come in here and turn the key to the on position, okay? And then you're going to go walk back around, and you're going to connect that negative battery cable back up while you're away from these airbags. And that's another safety measure that Ford has us do, they recommend us to do. So you're not like this, you're going to turn the key on, you power everything up, and there's a fault in something you just did or otherwise, and then it blows right off in your face, and you know, hurt your neck and all that stuff, you're too close. And like that. So if the key's on already, as soon as you walk around, you connect that negative, everything's going to power up, and no occupants are going to be in the vehicle. And that's another tip for you guys. But I just want to go over it because it can be very expensive getting it scanned and diagnosed someplace, when the two most common areas are those two I explained. So that can definitely save you a lot of dough, and more importantly, get your system fully operational, especially that front crash sensor.